A moment of resistance creates lifelong strength. There's an active resistance to change, to new beginnings, going against what feels like was originally ordained, but turns out to just be imagination or social, political, commutative constructs, what you see other people around you doing. And that resistance comes up when the feeling of individuality creeps in. But that resistance is exactly what creates lifelong confidence and strength and the unyielding compassion to what's important, because what's resistant ultimately trains you, mind, body, and soul, to be more than what was before. Without resistance, there is no order. And without any order, there is no creation. There's no building. And resistance has many forms, but it also is it has the same feeling for it. Like, it's resistant. It may come up as physical people, situations, and circumstances. It may come up as mindsets. It may even come up as opportunities. So something coming towards you, presenting an opportunity, and the resistance to follow it and follow that intuition. Because ultimately, that intuition that tells you and leads you towards that resistance, it desires to break the cycle that has always been. There's a lot of inner knowing, a lot of inner truth about what is right for the soul and what's right for being in this life, in this time, especially during this time where any and everything is trying to distract you and warp what feels right to you. And it may feel scary. And even when I'm about to say this, it sounds very demanding, but no one's going to come save you. There is no Superman, Superwoman, Batman, Flash. Ain't no Marvel superhero. Ain't no DC superhero. There's no Power Rangers. There's no Powerpuff Girls busting out the screen, fighting the big bad evil. There is no fight ultimately between good and evil. There is simply just what is happening. And when resistance comes, it's very easy to display duality and accept it. But when we accept duality, it ends up becoming a swinging pendulum. There's no stability in that, because the effect of duality is to create that swinging, is to create that destabilization so that it can be balanced. There's a heavy importance on Earth. I was gonna say air signs, but also earth signs. I was really thinking about Gemini and Libra, Aquarius as well, but Aquarius is more so. Aquarius is like a transcendence of duality. Gemini is the expression of duality, and Libra, which connects to Taurus as they're both ruled by Venus, is the balancing of duality. And then ultimately, yes, Aquarius is the ascendance or transcendence of that duality into community, into civilization. You know, ultimately, though, what's needed for that duality to be balanced is ultimately the foundational strength that comes from the earth, that comes from nature and grounding. So this resistance is no different than the resistance that the earth experiences, like gravity, the different forces, the natural forces, weak force, strong force, electromagnetism, gravity. Those are the natural forces of this world that keep us balanced. And they're also the forces that keep each individual person balanced. Of course, these natural forces, they're pure nature. That's why they're called natural forces. But they're also like we can't be metaphorical. Natural forces, of course, they show up in nature, but the weak force, specifically looking at the weak force and the strong force, gravity as well, and electromagnetism as well. They're all very important when it comes to a human's auric field, but specifically when it comes to resistance, we create the resistance for ourselves ultimately, and that expression of duality to want to feel sane or even safe and comfortable, it kind of shies away from experiencing that uncomfortability. But you have the know how to move through that comfortability and create exactly what you want. And more often than not, you are much closer than led on to be. No one's going to tell you where the finish line is. You just have to see it in front of you. You just have to keep going, keep walking. And more oftentimes than not, we lose so much when we think we know the end goal, but we keep moving it, moving it, moving it, moving it, moving it, moving it. We waste time, money, energy, resources. We lose friends. We burn bridges. But ultimately, we do it for the same goal that we could have done if we just accepted, or not really accepted. I remember I heard acceptance requires permission. No more permission, no more permitting ourselves to be to the bare minimum. There is a need, a necessary initiative to embrace what we resist against. More often than not, that fear is a telltale sign that that's something that we came here in this lifetime to work on. And truth be told, people wait millennium to come here and have this experience. Albeit, you could say Earth's pretty ghetto right now. Earth is kind of losing its shit right now. I'm not gonna hold you, but that's part of the experience is the unknown and I guess fear of collapse. You know, the fear of diminishment, feeling like we don't have enough of something. But oftentimes we have more than enough. We have way more than we think we need. We have a natural abundance within us. And also, more often than not, especially within society nowadays, there is a need to be self sovereign. As aforementioned, there's no one coming to save you. You are the superhero. You are the one with the powers. You are the one with the power. You are Superman. You have the S on your chest because I'm ready to save him. Like, you are the Superman. So, yeah, you know, go do that thing go do that thing you've been wanting to do. You know, go out and experience life, even if it's by yourself. That's another thing. Resistance often is a solo. It's felt by the collective, right? You know, the collective feels resistance, but the collective recognizes each individual part of itself, each facet. You know, they're all moving in unison to make a homogenous collective. You know, we see what we are, but when you look a little closer, you know, when you do the little, when you move a little closer, you see that there are individual parts, and each individual part feels its own resistance. And if that individual part is unable to overcome and be resilient, then the whole collective will not be resilient. But if that individual part is able to tap into their power, overcome, create that lifelong strength, then the whole becomes stronger. You know, think about it as, or it helps to think about it that whenever we have challenges, it's not us by ourselves. There is a whole collective behind us. There's a whole spirit team behind us in every decision that we make, silently guiding us. And truth be told, they be like, get up. They be like, get up. Stop playing. Get up. Get up. Just go. Go. Just go. Don't think about it. Don't think about it too much. Don't think about it too much. Too much. Don't think about it too much, baby. Don't think about it too much. That's just it's too much. It's too much. The brain ain't meant to be thinking about every single thing. Like, really think about it. The brain's neurological function, the organ, the brain, that organ, it literally its function is to find like the shortest distance. Like, that's like how neurons work. They find the shortest distance to solve a problem. It's very in line with like quantum physics and stuff, but basically, the mind isn't meant to think. It's meant to, I guess, find. It locates naturally. You know, when there's resistance, it's because it was created. And this resistance, albeit was created, it wasn't created by accident. It was created because the brain recognizes that this part, this thing, needs effort to be overcome. It can't just be, you know, it's not just a natural thing, or it's not just easy. It needs to be overcome. That's why the brain creates the resistance. That's why we create the resistance. And Ain't no reason to even be scared because failure, I feel like a lot of people think about failure. I feel like the collective thinks about failure so much. The collective is like, but what if I don't do it? What if it's like good, good, failure, good. Failure is the first step to success. If you get it the first time, baby, either you, if you get it the first time, either you been at it for so many lifetimes. Hold on. So you've been at it for so many lifetimes that's like, girl, yeah, of course you're gonna get it the first time when you come here, yeah. Or it's luck, which also isn't bad, we really create our own luck as well. But at the same time, failure teaches us what's necessary for success. Yeah, we have the answers. We just gotta put it into perspective. We just gotta move through the resistance, embrace the unknown, embrace the hardship, embrace the challenge, embrace the uncomfortability. Honestly, sooner or later, that consciousness gonna be so competent. It's like, girl, the next challenge. It's like you gonna be looking for the resistance, cause it's like, dang, the dopamine hit when you clear that resistance. It's like when you go to the gym, you work a muscle, and it's like, okay, last time I went to the gym, bitch, I can only squat like 100. You go to the gym, you squat that 100. You said, wait, that wasn't hard enough. 115. You squat that 115. You said, ooh, that 115 felt good. Yes. Yes. It just feels like it just clicks. It's like the overcoming of resistance, it just clicks. It makes you feel so good. So you can think about like a hedonistic perspective. I feel like hedonism is a very strong word for this, but pleasure from resistance or the overcoming of resistance is truly it's one of a kind experience that no one can create for you besides yourself. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, that's it. That's the message I have today. If you would like to ask any questions, leave my information in the description. If you like to subscribe, go ahead, do that. Ain't no pressure. Enjoy your day.